What is happening, my good people? It is a Monday. You know what today is, but before I even get to that, last week on the podcast, I talked about how this NFL season has been an abomination, that there has not been a signature game. Well, obviously, after yesterday's game in Buffalo between the Vikings and Bills, went above and beyond anything that anybody could ever expect, imagine, etc., especially between two teams, a 7-1 team that was coming in that, even though as good as the Vikings have been this year, how I felt as if they hadn't really played anybody. And of course, the one game that they played and had some stiff competition, they lost. I get it was way back in week 2 against the Eagles. But with the Vikings beating up on a lot of the bad teams in the league, you kind of thought, I don't know, let's see them step up in class and see what they could do. Well, as we saw yesterday, down 27-10, and with the Vikings, who are not really comeback kids, and yes, I understand they have been so this year than in past years, but what a job by them and what a crazy set of circumstances at the end of that game between them getting stopped on 4th and goal, the Josh Allen fumble, which led to the touchdown, then him driving down the field to kick a field goal with 41 seconds to go, the great catches by Justin Jefferson, including the one on 4th and 18, which was still otherworldly, and the Vikings prevailed. What could you say? Even with them kicking a field goal in OT and with the Bills marching down looking like they're going to go for the win, and rightfully so, because even if they kicked the field goal there and how much time was left, I guess right around the 3-minute mark, chances are you're going to play for a tie there. And when you're that team that gets the ball, and especially as you're marching down the field and the clock's starting to wind down, you want to try to win the game there. You're not trying to look for a tie. You're not trying to look to tie the game. Of course, if you absolutely have to, that's one thing. But with Josh Allen throwing that interception late to Patrick Peterson, not a bad read, a bad pass altogether. But the Vikings prevail, by far the game of the year. Just unbelievable how everything unfolded there in the final few seconds of regulation. And then, of course, you had the overtime. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to save this for the podcast. But I'd be concerned if I'm a Buffalo Bill fan. And yes, you could talk about, hey, they were due to lose at home or they were due to have one of these type of games. No, if you're a team that's destined and bound to go to a Super Bowl at home, up 17, you cannot lose that game. I'll start there. But I'd be really concerned if I'm a Bill fan. And not because of what I just saw there yesterday, but I've seen some patterns with this team. I've seen the way these games have just gotten away from them and they have not been able to close. That's your hint. And I'll go in further on the latest edition, which is coming later today around 3 this afternoon on the podcast. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. A lot more to come with college football, NBA, NHL, baseball, even MMA. I'll have that for you. So please stay tuned for that. Always coming correct, directed, and full effect on everything that's happening in the world of sports. And until next time, later on today, people, on the flip, baby.